before we go deeper into it, I want you to show some of these ghillie suits that you have here and kind of talk us through each one. So you have them like down there next to you.
Yeah.
I get just walk us through like
Early season to late
early
season.
season to late season and what they are.
This would be, I guess you would consider more of a early season. This is a Cry Precision Viper hood, and it's just like a half style. It doesn't cover, your belly and all that. It's kind of like the shoulders, and it's got the hood, but it's got the little grids where you can put brush, maybe like pine, or if you're in like a little pine stand or whatever. Also, too, you can kind of, with these little grids, the night before, you can kind of, if you know what area you're going into and what the vegetation looks like, you can kind of take some of your material and just stuff it down in there or whatever. But it's a real good option because it's not really that hot. It's kind of got made out of some mesh material, and you can kind of use it for a hybrid too. If you just wanted to buy one, you could use this too for like late season or early season because it's got the grid on it. So I just have some of the material stuff down in it and the grid, but most of these they'll just come plain with a grid with a hood. So, and you'll be able to put your own material on it. You can go to like one of these, like Michael's, Hobby Lobby or whatever. They even got like the fake leaves, fake pine straw. Like, I mean, you would be shocked. Anything you want to put in this to make it look real. But I try to go with natural vegetation. I wait to wherever I'm going, especially the pine too, because it's going to give you a little bit of the pine scent. So, that's a pretty good option. Late season, it's going to be something more like this pattern. And this would be more if I'm going to be hunting in a sagebrush area, like the switchgrass. This really blends in good with it.
And that's just a lighter kind of tan with a little bit of light green in there.
Yeah, this is just a store, like internet bought ghillie, nothing homemade or anything. They come super bushy. I kind of trimmed it down a little bit because if you don't, everything in the woods is going to stick to it. The downside to these like this, they're super noisy. You don't want to put it on if you're going in a real thick area that's going to have a lot of briars and a lot of leaves. You want to put this on after you get to your destination. When you're walking through the woods with this, you're going to sound like you're crunching around on a bag of potato chips.
Because you're just catching on everything?
Everything.
But it's like if you have to draw a bow, is it too loud to draw a bow with?
No. Now, when if you're just already in your area where you're wanting to get, wherever I'm going to sit up, I'm going to take my pruning shears and I'm going to cut any type branch, that I could brush up against. I could brush 4 foot against. I'm going to completely clear it of any kind of debris, especially the ground too. So I don't want to step on any kind of leaf or anything like that. So
okay.
Yeah, the downside to these is super noisy. So my go-to, I guess, would be the First Light, this leaf ghillie. It's kind of like I guess it would be like a hybrid, but I shot 3 deer with this season, so it's kind of like my good luck ghillie, I guess.
The good luck ghillie.
But I've worn this with the Viper hood. You can, the possibilities are limitless, with a ghillie. Man, I tell you what, any of these, in the certain environment, you get brushed down, especially in like a prone position. I mean, it'd be hard for a person to see you, even if they're looking for you.
Yeah, that pattern right there specifically, I was telling you earlier that when they first came out with that pattern, which that's the Spectre pattern from First Light, and they came out with another one too that was like a waterfowl camo, and it's very light, and I'm like, man, that would do so good in a pine thicket because it looks like that sage grass and stuff. And we were actually hunting with some of the people from First Light in Georgia 2 years ago, and they brought the Spectre down, and one of them actually had I can't remember the name of the waterfowl camo, but someone had a little bit of that waterfowl camo, and we had that, and we put them side by side in the pine thicket, and it's like, okay, no, the Spectre's it. I mean, it blends in so good in a pine
Oh
thicket.
yeah. I mean, we don't know what the deer really see. We can go by what the scientific data is and all that, but
Yeah.
every deer I've had this on this past season, every deer that's looked my direction, like maybe picked up on some sort of movement, it's like they looked through me. So
Speak
you
about
know,
that. I do want to bring this a random point that you brought up before we started recording, which is you've got a property. Again, you hunt pretty much all public, but you got some property that you own in your house and everything you live on. And you said you had a feeder back there, and you've tested some of the stuff in and around the deer coming to that.
Oh yeah.
Can you talk about like some of the testing you did about trying to figure out like what worked best in those scenarios when you had actually deer coming around you?
Yeah, you know what time they're going to come out there. It's set up on a timer, and if you got a camera out there, you're going to know what time they're going to kind of be out there. Just walk out there. Kind of, I guess, stalk your way up to close as you can to the feeder or whatever. Even if you spook them, they're going to come back. They're almost like your own pets. But I've tried different, camo patterns with that, and also with my dogs. I got 3 dogs, and a couple of them, were having a hard time seeing me. I had my ghillie suits on up in a tree. I was doing some tree cutting in her yard, and anyway, I decided to put one of my ghillies on, to see, how my dogs responded to me. They knew something was up there. They knew I was somewhere. But they were looking around, and they couldn't even they were looking, directly towards me and didn't even know it was me up there. They could smell me, of course, but they didn't know where I was at. So, I mean, that's a testament right there.
Yeah, no.
I before we move on, I've kind of got a question about these specifically. That Phantom leaf suit, which by the way, we'll put a link in the description for that one. It's less than $100. I have one, but I really want it in the Spectre now. I have it in a different pattern, but it does not come with a hood or anything like that.
I got the Spectre hood.
So you bought a hood to go with it. So that's
yeah.
what I was wanting to ask about is how crucial is the hood? Like, do you have to have?
Crucial.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. But I wear the Spectre hood with a scent. It's a scent lock carbon hood. Because of most of your scent's gonna come out out of your head, or somewhere like where your gloves are at. So I try to mitigate most of the. I know you're not gonna be able to mask all of it. You'll never be at a deer's nose, but I think the carbon under this really really helps too. Because you ain't. Maybe it's just a confidence thing.
Mm-hmm.
It don't matter how much you brush your teeth, whatever. I think the majority of the deer, when they come out, I think they smell your breath more than anything. That's just my personal opinion, because you got to breathe.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And you watch your breath when you're out here in the cold. I mean, your breath is like blowing. You can see it like blowing for like yards. So they're gonna have to smell something. So I think the carbon hood, wearing this over it, is extremely effective. But it cuts down on your hearing a lot.
That's a really good point.
That's I can't stand wearing.
God, it
like
just
that.
drives me crazy. But even this, it's mesh,
Mm-hmm.
and it seems like, I can't really hear that good anyway, so it really knocks down a lot too. What I'll have to usually do on this, I'll have to like cut the eye area a little bit more, where I can pull my ear out of it, where I can be able to hear a little bit better. But even though it being mesh, but the mesh is huge. I mean, that makes a huge difference. You're not going to beat a deer's nose, so there's no sense of, worrying about it being like a solid, type material. You want it to be breathable, because if you're going to be walking around with it, you're probably going to be sweating. You're really going to start sweating when the big buck comes out. You know what I mean? So I want it to be, something that's kind of moisture wicking too, I would think.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe like almost like a spandex type material too. But it's the best money I've ever spent. The First Light Phantom, and this one. Yeah.
So, really, I mean, when you get down to it, the whole point of wearing like a leaf suit or a ghillie suit like that is just to break up. You're trying to break up that human outline, specifically of your upper body, and so I'm assuming that's why you have to have something on your head to break up your head, basically, because that's going to stick out to a deer, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, So it doesn't matter if it's the Phantom or if it's one of these other ghillie suits that you got. Like you're always wearing a hood 100% of the hunt,
Oh yeah,
or at least when you're sitting. Maybe not when you're accessing, but
yeah,
when you're actually hunting there, you're wearing it the whole time.
yeah, 100%.